Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to make sure you know all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on all new episodes of Wade's World, Boob Windows and Long Boxes, our Hard R movie reviews, and so much more, all completely uncensored. Access starts for as little as $1 a month, full videos when you pledge $3 a month. Check us out at the link in all of our show notes, or just go straight to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. Hello and welcome once again, dear viewers and listeners, to Superconnectivity. I'm your host, Charlie, the Professore di Essore. Sorry for saying it, and I am welcoming you once again to Superconnectivity. And with me, as always, is the blue-eyed bomber from the Burger Pits,
Phil me and Perich.
Philip! We live in a chaotic world, Philip.
Yes.
A world where nothing is stable, nothing rests for a moment. And although the great fruit of my looms, Tristan, had come up with what he thought was an Easter egg to reveal the eventual arrival of Toxin, it is already being undermined by that jerk Eric Voss over at New Rockstars.
Oh, no.
I know. But many people have pointed out. So if you watch the trailer for Venom, have you seen? Have you seen the trailer, Phil?
Is there a new trailer? I saw the first trailer.
No, I don't think there's a new one. But in the first one, there is a scene where Carnage, very facehuggery-esque, puts his tongue in the body of a police officer as he is trying to escape. And it does appear to be a random police officer, not a named actor. Mm-hmm. So immediately Tristan begins to think, what if that is the origin of Carnage? What if this random police officer, or not Carnage, but Toxin?
Oh, yeah.
Gets maybe he bites the tongue when it comes into him, gets that blood in him, gets whatever into him, actually becomes Toxin from that, and then that becomes your end credit scene where it's like, I feel so toxic, something. I don't know what. He's like, hey, your blood seems to have some unidentified toxin in it, officer. So that would have been a great end credit scene, a great way to open it up. But it has since been revealed that there is an actor who is playing Patrick Mulligan, named as the detective in the film, and he is the detective on the Carnage case.
Yeah.
Or on the Cletus Cassidy case, which I think is, I don't know if it's, I think it would have been a much better way to do the reveal if he was a guard at Cletus's breakout. Because I do believe that is very much how the original Toxin Patrick Mulligan came to be, was that he was a police officer who was there at the breakout. Yeah. And that's how he got infected.
I never read the Toxin origin, but I know the whole thing with Carnage is just like, those symbiotes reproduce asexually. So, like, when the symbiote was breaking Eddie out of jail one time, it just, like, left its offspring there, and it bonded with Cletus, and didn't even tell Eddie until, like, Spider-Man battled Carnage for the first time. Then he's like, oh, God, I'm going to need, Venom's help. And then he tells Venom, and he's like, you're lying. And then it's like, the symbiote's like, hey, yeah, no. And, Eddie's like, oh, yeah, they reproduced asexually, I guess. And my other didn't even bother to tell me it had, given birth until now.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. So they just, like, can plop them out at any time, any place, I guess. So.
Yeah. So, but I would like it if it was, especially since Toxin does have a heroic quality to him at times, the idea that, it would be an attempt to infect him that he sort of fights off, and that becomes the impetus and the what you might call the imprinting event for the baby symbiote. Or
what if it's just like a throwaway theory I just thought of. What if the cop does get a symbiote, but it's more like the cult of Carnage, and he isn't toxic?
So that's the other theory. So we do kill Woody Harrelson or something at the end, but the other cop turns out to be part of that cult of Carnage. And that becomes our Venom 3.
Yeah.
The cult of Carnage with the cop who gets the throat romanticism, if you will.
Well, I mean, you could change all the rules too, because that was even the thing there. Like, oh, Carnage was stronger than Spider-Man and Venom, and they theorized that it's like, oh, Venom was like, yeah, because the Carnage symbiote was like born in the alien environment of Earth. It like mutated differently than like the original symbiote. So,
yeah, but they've already undone that because first off, they already did that. Like, had all the symbiotes in the first one. And then now they have this thing where it's like, no, that's a red one. I don't want to fight a red one. And it's like, dude, it's like have some lore that we can all join with,
It's Sony. Come on.
Sony don't need lore. That's what Marvel's for.
We got that pretty Spider-Man stuff. Yeah.
Look at the pretty Spider-Man, kids. Dangle, dangle, dangle. But yeah, I liked it, and it was, it's Tristan's first fan theory. He was a little disappointed to find out that there is another character who is the Patrick Mulligan character in the story, which suggests that will be, and it's not the one that this cool scene that would have been a great way to set up. And I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We know the trailers don't always match up with the film, so what if that same scene with the attacking happens with Patrick Mulligan in the film, where the tongue goes down the throat and he bites it, and it's like, I ain't going down like that, you symbiote.
I mean, they could, because they always are like they can always manipulate trailers. I mean, they all do it, so anything's possible.
Exactly. It's an all CGI scene anyway, so But and to be fair, the guy who caught Cletus Cassidy would absolutely be there at his execution, probably in his dress blues too. So it's not unheard of. I think that Tristan saw something that people will say that wasn't what he saw, but he saw it because he is smart enough to interpret the Easter eggs that aren't even there for us to see yet. He can see beyond the Easter eggs. So watch for it when Let There Be Carnage comes out for a scene where Cletus Cassidy sticks his tongue down the throat of Patrick Muldoon, and we get an end credit scene with a toxin.
Remember, that's just a theory.
That is just a theory, a Tristan theory.
A toxin theory from Toxin Gamer.
Well, no. Tristan.
Oh, Tristan. Okay, I thought it was that other guy. Okay.
No, I don't know that person.
Okay.
I like making theories, too. That's why we're on Superconnectivity right now. Okay, so let's talk about some other theories here. And let's talk about Shang-Chi for a minute.
Yes.
Now, here's the interesting question about Shang-Chi. Because we recently got that Shang-Chi is a post-blip film.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think his ability to be away from his father derives from either A, his father being blipped during that time, taking the 10 rings with him, or do you think it derives from his father thinking Shang-Chi blipped because he disappeared at the exact same time he escaped that just happened to be the time of the blip? And then once everyone is returning, then he starts looking for his son, but he finds out that his son has actually been living an entire life this whole time.
I mean, that's interesting.
As a secret card, nor from Queen's romantic interest.
I mean, I never thought of that. I thought it was just a thing where like the father let him go, and with the whole thing, it's like, oh yeah, one day I'm going to call you back. But no, I mean, maybe Shang-Chi got blipped, and the father thought he was dead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because it says he's been gone for a while. I didn't even say 5 years. That he let him have his 5 years.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Which makes you wonder. I have to rewatch the original, because they say how long it's been in the original trailer. But it makes me wonder, what if his father, what if the Mandarin got blipped?
Maybe.
And if the Mandarin got blipped, maybe the Mandarin wasn't there. Because that's the thing. If the Mandarin with his 10 rings got blipped, those 10 rings got blipped too. And
can you imagine? I mean, that might be one of the upsides of the blip. It's like, I mean, because we got 10 rings references in the first Iron Man movie, but it's like maybe the Mandarin was about to enact some fiendish plot, and then Thanos snapped him out of existence for 5 years.
Yes.
I'd be mad.
And then, and then Shang said, "Screw you guys, I'm going home. I'm going somewhere else because this has been my home my whole life." But the idea is, getting ahead of me, Philip.
I know. But it's just
because that's the new poster.
Yeah.
And what is really interesting about the poster? Oh, and I forgot to Google that. I actually think I have to. Does Fin Fang Foom have wings?
I believe so.
Does Fin Fang Foom have wings? Let's Google it and find out.
I believe there's appearances where he flies, yeah.
Yeah, well, I know he flies, but all dragons can fly. Oh, he does have wings.
Yeah, that one on the
He does. Those are confirmed. Wings confirmed. Fin Fang Foom is a winged dragon. And what do you know? There's a winged dragon in this. He's got tentacle feet, but he's still a winged dragon.
Way back on the right side there, yeah.
He doesn't have his classic purple shorts. Because, see, we've seen the first dragon. That's the quote-unquote guardian of the rings. And this gets around the Chinese, don't like magic and stuff. Are we going to go with Fin Fang Foom, and maybe the other dragon is they're both part of an alien race, and maybe those rings are actually like alien technology or something? Well, I mean, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, they are. That's not like... They're not going with that's actually Marvel canon. It's like, there's no mysticism involved.
I didn't know for the movies if they were going to go with mysticism, but so are we going to go straight up canon where they are actually alien artifacts then?
Well, we've already established that science is just magic you don't understand.
Yeah, yeah.
We've already said there are dimensions and there are portals and there are time machines and all this nonsense. You just haven't figured it out yet, but that's okay. Now, there are ways to access it that are way more subtle than actually building a machine, because as it turns out, that's just ultimate human power sources. We can actually access dimensions and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, no, the idea of, and it does not look like Fin Fang Foom traditionally, but what does? And again, I don't think the purple shorts would have worked.
Well, it's hard to see back on the right side there. I mean, he's really back.
Well, you can see he's got tentacle feet.
Yeah,
so it's got like some Cthulhu feet, which may be a reference to recent Agent Carter stuff. I don't know, or Captain Carter stuff.
Oh, maybe they aren't actually from like another planet. Maybe they're from another dimension. Okay.
Could be from another dimension or another planet, or dimensions are planets and planets are dimensions now, because Asgard is a place, but also a higher level of reality. And they kind of sort of have in the MCU right now this idea that we're really not going to say whether or not you could actually drive there or not. We're just saying you're going to need an Einstein-Rosencrantz, not an Einstein-Rosencrantz, you're going to need a bridge. You're going to need a rainbow bridge to get yourself there. You got to have some sort of technology that can leap you from point A to point B without traversing any other points. And once you establish that, then maybe you can traverse to another dimension. I don't know. Sure, why not?
Or if it is related to that Captain Carter monster, I mean, Multiverse of Madness is coming. Maybe that links us to Doctor Strange, too.
I I mean, I actually think this is going to link to a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I definitely want to see Trevor Slattery in this. I definitely want to see him. And honestly, him getting blipped and blipped back is kind of, especially if it's the idea that, oh, there you go. Like, the Mandarin is about to execute Trevor Slattery. And he's like, okay, I understand. Just let me have one more beer before I die. In fact, let me just be drinking it when you do the chop. And he starts drinking, and then he does the guy goes up with the axe, and then he turns to dust. And was like, what? And then all of a sudden, other people start turning to dust. And then the Mandarin turns to dust. And when they both come back into that throne room where no one else is, and Trevor's like, that was odd. And that would be a great opening scene, especially if then they become best friends. It's like, boy, that was weird. Hey, where were we for the last period of time? I was here and then I wasn't here. That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Oh my God. Can you imagine if Trevor got snapped and like he just reappears in that chair not knowing that 5 years have passed?
Would he care?
If the TV's still there and still on, can you imagine?
Oh yeah, he's just in his little cell, drinking his beer.
Hey, what happened to the score?
What? So I fall asleep? I mean, there's so much fun you could have with Trevor and being blipped and coming back. Oh, I'm 5 years younger. Great. I finally can play the age I feel.
Or the real Mandarin was about to kill him and he got snapped.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man. Oh, here's your craziness. Here's your best craziness of all time. He says, he's gonna, and then Trevor just starts doing that whole Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's court thing. You think I am not the true Mandarin? You think I am not a threat to you? Just because you have the 10 rings? No. I will tell you this. With a snap of my fingers, I will show you my power. And then he just snaps, and it just happens to be the exact same time. And all of a sudden, like, half the people in the room disappear. And Trevor's like, yes! No. Witness my power! And everyone just bows to him. Says, okay, first thing we need is more beer. No. And in the ensuing chaos, Shang-Chi takes off, which is why the 10 rings have sort of been kind of quiet for a bit. It can work, kids. It can all work.
It's all super connected.
It's all super connected, and that's Shang-Chi, and that is going to be a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to be a bigger deal than people think. I think it's going to be a bigger deal than freaking Bob Chapek thinks.
Wait, who? What?
Bob Chapek is the current head of Disney now that Iger's gone.
Oh, is that the theory? Is that the one who had the theory? Made the experiment comment or whatever?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I get what he was trying to say, but he's bad at his job.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if you're not a face. Look, there are face CEOs and there are business CEOs. And if you're a business CEO, you don't go and be a face. Iger was a face. Freaking whatever his name is, the guy before him that nobody liked, but he was always a face. Mm-hmm. He wanted to be out there and make his face known. And if you want to make your face great, Feige's a great face. But then you sort of got to coordinate with Feige about what he's supposed to say, when he's supposed to say it. And you're not supposed to talk outside of what Feige tells you to say.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately, it's like, the spirit of Roy has risen again, and that's Disney.
Oh, I saw something today, I think. They said, I don't know if it was Feige or somebody wasn't even happy when, right before Loki came out, Owen Wilson told some... I don't know where, but let it slip that his character in Loki had a mustache, and they didn't even like him saying his character had a mustache.
Wow. I mean, that's minor. I mean, that's...
Yeah.
I mean, that...
But,
and honestly... But no, well, they used to be very, very tight about that. But like I said, I don't think that was under Chapek's.
Yeah.
Because there was this whole thing where Iger was staying on, and Iger is still technically in charge in a weird way, where he's like the CEO emeritus. Well, because he said, "Well, I want Chapek to take over. I want Chapek to be the new guy. I think he's got that head for business that we need." But he is just making misstep after misstep after misstep, to where he's killing all of his golden geese. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, look, I don't know about nothing about birthing no babies, but I do know that if you are Disney and Feige has a thing he's doing, you don't screw with it. So you should always talk to Feige before you make a statement. And then when you have Feige just getting mad about that statement, it kind of emphasizes how and this is over the Scarlet ScarJo stuff. You can say whatever you want, do whatever you want about the whole concept, but it was not the time for Disney to go on the offensive against ScarJo.
I mean, if you're not 100% sure of what to say to the public, all you have to say is be like, "Oh, I don't know, I can't say anything," because Disney, and everyone will be like, "Oh, of course, oh yeah, we understand, yeah."
Well, the problem is that when you're the CEO of Disney, everyone thinks you can speak your mind whenever you want.
I mean, about business decisions, but don't be doing creatives, don't be commenting
but that's
on creatives.
But this is the thing. It's like in the ensuing sort of like after the flip, in the ensuing chaos, things are falling through the cracks. Now, maybe Bob can pull it out. Maybe Bob can right his ship. But right now, it looks like a guy trying to prove his value, and in doing so, kind of driving himself off a cliff. Because that's the thing. It's like, you have the ship, you're in the water. The captain's saying, it's time for me to retire. I'm putting first mate in charge. He says, "Spock, you have the bridge." And Spock says, "You know what? Let's go drive into that black hole." I don't think we know enough about black holes today. And that's the scary part for any Disney Marvel fan right now is, are we driving into the black hole? But the good news is there's still content that's already been made, stuff that already has Feige stink on it, that maybe good things might come from. So, along those same lines, we did get the new Eternals trailer.
Yes.
The latest Eternal trailer. And what's neat about this one is this is a story trailer. It's a conversational trailer between, what's her name? Not Artemis.
Cersei?
The other one.
Or...
Who, not Angelina Jolie, but, Selma Hayek. Who's Selma Hayek playing?
Oh,
I think it might be Cersei.
No, I think that's Gemma Chan. Here, look, I'll bring up the Eternals.
Whoever is dating Dane Whitman, because we get Dane Whitman and we get Selma Hayek in that. And I assume they're dating, but maybe they're not. But
Ajax.
So we get that conversation between Ajax and Dane Whitman. And Dane Whitman, who has that Lancelot curse of immortality, who is oh, by the way, anyway, very good story. Last Defender of Camelot was a Twilight Zone episode. I can't remember who wrote it or who did the adaptation, but it was somebody really cool when I said, "Oh wow, that guy did it." But anyway, Dane Whitman has that curse of immortality in this, and he's talking to Ajax, and it's like, why didn't you help to fight Thanos? Why didn't you participate in all these things? And they're like, we only interfere when the deviants are involved. And of course, this is this whole thing that with the 2 snaps, this has caused something to occur that is arguably, we are going to assume that the plot line is a ticking clock, 7 days until the final celestial hosts, when they're going to judge all of humanity and say, you did okay, or he didn't do okay. Interesting other side aspects in this is that in this story, they make the point that they have been around for 7,000 years, which is much shorter than traditional Eternal timeline. Because usually the Eternals come in like a few hundred, basically as soon as humans start to evolve.
Yeah.
And then once the hominids come into existence, they say, okay, you humans be that. You humans, we're going to just take to a level of perfection. And you guys, the deviants, we're going to just see what the heck we can do with you. What crazy wackiness could happen when your genes just create something new every time you spin the wheel.
Yeah, because in that trailer, didn't it sound like they said they came to Earth, not that they had evolved from early man?
Well, yeah, I mean, it says something. It says, like, we have been here. I don't know if it says we came to Earth. Or I think it was like, I think they may have said they came to Earth. So I'm not listening to it right now. So I don't know. Maybe, I would hate to think they were brought to Earth. I mean,
unless, in the comics, there are other Eternals on other planets in our solar system. So unless they do that, I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the Titan variant.
Yeah.
Which is that you have the Titans on the moon of Titan.
Or, unless the Celestials stole some cavemen from Earth back in prehistoric times, brought them to Titan, let them evolve there for a couple thousand years, and then they came back to Earth or something.
I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, they already... Well, it will be an interesting thing if we find out that actually Thanos was in fact an Eternal, but when he tells his story, everyone was a deviant like him. So he doesn't make the point, well, the reason no one wanted to listen to me on Titan was that I was actually this presumed lesser being.
Well, I'm just wondering if
in our society.
Are we gonna like ignore that and say Thanos wasn't an Eternal, because then wouldn't they have gotten involved with that first snap?
Well, the idea is, no, it's not evolved. They just got. The idea is that when the snaps occurred,
yeah, when
beings came about that could release that much gamma energy,
yeah,
I guess is the idea. Gamma's the key. That's not going to age well as science progresses, but that's okay. And the idea that, when he's doing all of these things. So here is, because this has always been my theory on the Mad Titan story, is that wherever Titan is, and maybe it's a planet Titan that they call Titan, doesn't have to be the moon of Saturn, but that he was in fact a deviant, but it was a planet of Eternals. And they really felt they would be eternal, because they're called Eternals. And because he was a throwback deviant gene, he was scorned by his society. But he was still and I'm trying to square the circle of the MCU on the Thanos character, because we're going to get to What If in a minute.
Yeah.
He wanted them to understand that that there were finite energies they were working with, that they were using all of this energy to keep their perfect single world going, but that eventually it would break down. And then the question becomes, did it break down, or are they going to give him a Lobo story where actually he was the one who broke it and he was the one who killed everybody? And it really was just, you won't listen to me and now I have to kill you all. So they could do some more darkness onto Thanos, but then also, and that wouldn't necessarily unsquare the circle of What If, because he still wanted to save everybody, just everyone wouldn't listen to him. And the real point of our What If episode is, for once, someone just said, okay, well, what is your argument? He says, well, this seems to have some flaws in it. May I point out some flaws? Perhaps you can refute them. And that is the whole point of our What If this season, this episode, last Wednesday, is what if someone who was raised to absolute peak perfection from birth, raised and educated to be a king and a diplomat, became Star-Lord instead of
Yes.
some guy from Missouri who otherwise would be just working at the Dairy Queen, just like his mom was.
And can I just say, I love this episode. I mean, I liked the first one, but I like this one better. I mean, I would rather have seen T'Challa as Star-Lord than Peter Quill.
Well, and okay.
I mean, he elevated everybody. I mean, it's,
Yeah.
basically Yondu and the Ravagers basically turned Peter into a thief. T'Challa basically turned them into Robin Hood and his merry men.
Well, exactly. Well, this is the point, is that he is. And it is its own bit of awkwardness when you really want to break it down, because it really does suggest that, T'Challa was just such a force and a presence that he was just so ready for whatever it came to him, that he was able to argue people that basically, if you are sentient, you can be talked to and you can be reasoned with.
I mean, yeah, and again, T'Challa probably had a better education and upbringing than Peter Quill. I mean, he was probably trained to be a warrior and a king since the day he was born, so of course T'Challa was going to be better prepared.
Well, exactly. And the idea that he was a precocious child, which is the whole point, is that he was a precocious child. And of course, what is, I think, the biggest difference that we see in this is that his precociousness was stopped by his father. His father says, I know you want to be precocious. I know you believe there is the possibility of a world without want. Getting back to Kang a few episodes ago, or over on Capes and Lunatics. Check it out. Scroll up, scroll down, scroll to the left. The idea of a post-want society is beautiful, but that humans aren't ready for it.
Yeah.
If nothing else, if Kang has taught us anything, it's like humans will never be ready for a post-want society. There's always going to be some idiot that's mad that we can just read and write and eat and drink to each of our own limits and desires and build and break and whatever we need to do. Wouldn't that be lovely? But I guess that's the whole, that whole dial PIP story. It's like, if everything is given to you, what does anything matter? So that is old Twilight Zone episode called PIP, I believe it is called, about the gangster who thinks he went to heaven and meets the guy who says, well, I am Pip, and just dial PIP on your phone, and anything you want, I will come and give. Whatever you want, I give you. And that is its own brand of heck for certain individuals. But like I said, I think you could just take the safety protocols off of the holosuite at that point, and just say, I want to just really run the risk of actually riding this roller coaster for once and seeing what happens. But of course, if you're not really willing to do that, because in its own way, that's the problem of Kang, is it's not that Kang really wants to have the risk and the reward of conquest. He just wants to have a controlled experience where he gets to feel like he's doing it and feel like he's oppressing people, even though they might rebel against him. So it's, Kang's a sociopath, for those who don't know.
They'll find out.
Yeah. Like Valeria Richards. So there we go. So if we assume that's the line from Doom to Richards to Kang, it all goes down Valeria. And that whole idea is like, well, you know what? I'm the smartest person in the world. Seems like it's a sacrifice you're willing to make. Anyway, but yeah, that's what if. But I do get mad with people saying that they nerfed Thanos in this. I don't think they did. I think he just is no longer a cold-blooded killer because his philosophy has changed, and now he's fighting in his weight class.
He was shown a better way.
Well, no, and also I think it's important to point out that he was fighting in his weight class.
Yeah.
The only time he really faced a person that was in his weight class was the Hulk, who wasn't a fighter.
Yeah.
And Thor, who by the time he faced him was really out of shape. I'm glad they kept him chubby Thor, but it was really also tells the story that man had let his skills atrophy. He had not been in the game in a while. And, so he was a little off his game. Mm-hmm. So he was taking the punches. And normally he would have been right up there, like as we saw, he was right up there with his little hammer. Had he gone for the head, a whole different story. But in this moment, it's people that are below his weight class that he's fighting with, And we see every time he comes into a real fight with someone in his weight class, he totally bails. Mm-hmm. So when he runs up against the Scarlet Witch, he's like, just blow everything up. When he faces, what's her name? Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
He pulls out the Power Stone so he can just
Punch
focus.
her with it, yeah.
Yeah, just that raw strength energy, just punching her to get her off of her, which doesn't even take her down.
Just gets her out of the way.
It's just this idea. Yeah.
Because he's like, all I need is everyone back for like a couple, just long enough to snap.
Yeah, and of course I remember all the way back to freaking Infinity War when Cap just, does this all day and for a minute just holds him at bay.
Grabs the hand, yeah.
And he's like, what the heck? Why can this peak human just say, get the F off? Because he's a better fighter than you, because he's Captain freaking America.
He knows leverage.
Yeah, and is also, he's using pressure points on you that you don't even realize he's using. And he is really just intuitively knowing the glove better than you do already. Mm-hmm. And, and that is the thing. It's like, it's stolen tech that he's using when he uses the glove. And, that's the thing. It's like, Thanos, he's scary, but he's still just a freaking big guy. So you can't say they nerfed him just because he's nice now. That's my statement on that. But anyway, let's get to some comic books, Philip. I don't have a lot.
Oh, hey, before we get there, did you see the new theory on how we're going to get Marvel Zombies and What If?
I heard Phil Perich's theory on how we're going to get Marvel Zombies.
Well, I read
just a better one.
Well, I read another one today. It's kind of almost what I said, but they were saying, what if, the people who survived the snap were the ones who got snapped away? So, like, guys like Doctor Strange survive, and, like, so, they can't do the time travel, so instead they have, like, Doctor Strange and whoever try to use magic to bring the people back, so that's why you get, like, zombie Captain America and zombie Iron Man.
That's an interesting theory. I like yours better.
Yeah.
The other theory I had heard is what if the bioweapon that at the start of Civil War that Rumlow steals. What if that was the zombie virus?
I also heard another one too. It's like, what if like Janet Van Dyne brought something back with her from the micro or the quantum realm or whatever?
Yes, because there is a flash we see of Janet Van Dyne in the quantum realm, where she looks a little zombified, or it could have been her escaping from the zombie universe and just a little exhausted.
Yeah.
We don't know. We really don't know if we're going to really even get the zombie verse yet. That's the thing. That could be one of those, oh, you thought we were going to give you a zombie verse? No, these are just scenes from an infinite universe. And you know what? There's a zombie version. And maybe that's why you tune in for season 2.
I can't wait for that. Yeah, watch it'll be the last one of the season or something. Yeah, I think Loki might be the next one next week.
I thought next week was, I thought I saw something about Loki, but maybe I was wrong. Well, I had thought next week was, what if Black Widow had to kill Iron Man?
Oh, maybe.
Which I actually think is supposed to be, is going to be, what if what if Killmonger had saved Iron Man?
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's going to be this thing where it gets to this end where Chadwick Boseman becomes his best friend, like Rhodey was his best friend. And why do I keep on saying Chadwick Boseman? Killmonger and Michael B. Jordan. Thank you. Michael B. Jordan's character, Killmonger, becomes Iron Man's best friend. As you know, of course, he already had Rhodey, so maybe things happen in that story in a way. Maybe he kills Rhodey. You know, Rhodey dies horribly when they were both on a mission, and that Killmonger's still working towards his eventual goal. Or maybe in this one, Killmonger's a good guy. I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. We're gonna see what happens next week on Wednesday, Philip. But yeah, it could also be that one where Thor is not is never humbled, or where Loki stages an invasion of Earth without Thanos, which would be an interesting idea, especially if you connect the idea that it's a world without Thanos, and so when Loki comes to Earth, it's not because he is allied with Thanos, it's because he's built his own army. And that is an interesting possibility because it opens up the idea that, what am I going to go into here? You have this idea that Loki, if all the universes are connected, and the universe that has a Captain Carter also has a T'Challa Star-Lord, which has no Thanos, and where the Collector has become the Kingpin. But at that same time, when Star-Lord eventually knocks over the Collector, maybe that's when Loki steps in to become a new Galactic Kingpin and seeks to conquer Earth. And then we get whoever is going to join up to be the new Avengers of the What If universe. But I think that's going to be a couple episodes away. So I think we're going to get something else that might take out a guy like Tony Stark from the equation before we get there. I can never remember if this is 6 or 9 episodes.
9. So
the idea that the 9 episodes. So I think that we're going to get that Loki episode later.
Okay.
Because I think that's going to be the culmination of all of these pieces taken off the board because Captain Carter came into existence. Because the direction of the world changed. And that is what allowed everything else to change. Just a theory, a comic book theory, a super connected theory. And speaking of comics, I want to talk a couple of comics real quick, Phil.
Yeah.
Did you read Black Cat?
Yes, sir. Yes, I did.
I did not, but tell me what happened in it.
Well, basically, she gets a hold of Star, and Black Cat says she has a job. She wants to get the her and those other Infinity Stone wielders. Hold on, I'm looking up their names now. The guy with the Time Stone, and
yeah. Because she captures him by the end of it.
Because.
Well, so here's my interesting question on this, because again, I just browsed it.
Yes.
But we know from the last annual that Fury's breaking free. We know that Black Cat stole Star from Fury. We know that Nighthawk is trying to gather the people in this way, and now we have Black Cat trying to gather the people for a reason.
Oh yeah, because she was hired by this. I don't know if the woman's still with AIM or she was with AIM, but she has cancer and she wants. So she wants this.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess she wants Black Cat to get these Infinity Stone people to, hopefully use them to do something to cure the cancer.
See, I did not see that scene because, as I said, I've been running through these.
Well, it's like towards the beginning. She tells her.
Do we get an image of this person who has cancer?
No, Black Cat just telling her about.
Oh, she just tells her. See, because that sounds like a story meant to pull a heartstring.
Yeah, it's really weird. It seems like it jumps in the middle of the story, but I don't think this was in the last issue. So it's very weird. It's almost like you jump in.
Yeah, I get the feeling that's her cover story.
Yeah.
I get the feeling that even if it's not Fury who's telling her what it's doing, Fury's using an operative to manipulate Black Cat to do the heist.
Maybe, yeah.
Which is interesting because it's like, why is Marvel investing so much into Black Cat, except to build her up to be something important in the larger verse?
I mean, I hate to compare, but I wonder if they're trying to build up like their Catwoman, or I know Sony was interested in making a Black Cat movie, so if not Sony or MCU, somebody's probably going to make them put Black Cat in a movie eventually.
And to make a long story short, heist movies are big.
Yeah, exactly.
And in fact, our last What If was a heist film. So,
I mean,
maybe there's something to take away from that.
I mean, Endgame was time travel, but it was a heist movie.
I mean, vaguely, yeah.
Yeah.
There wasn't a heist film because it wasn't a real double cross. There was a third act improv.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily make it a quote-unquote heist film.
I mean, it wasn't a double...
in the sense of our modern understanding of a heist film.
I mean, it wasn't a double cross, but Nebula, past Nebula, kind of...
Did you read Gamma Flight this week?
No, I did not. Is that good?
Oh, it was actually really touching.
Ooh.
I mean, I will say this, all things being equal with Al here, I know he likes the body horror stories. He can pull a heartstring, and he makes Eugene Judd, who was John Byrne's favorite character, got very mad when they made his origin. Not John Byrne did this, but someone else made his origin that he used to be like 6'8", and then he just got his body compressed. Because apparently there is a guy named Eugene Judd in Canada who's a good friend of John Byrne. Who the character is based off of, who was, a shorter adventurer character. We get this interesting storyline where after, if you will recall, Absorbing Man absorbed the teleportation pad to become a teleporter. And when he tried to teleport everyone, he wound up teleporting everyone to what appears to be an in-between space, basically where gamma beings go when they're not manifested in the real world. And it's sort of like a mirror dimension. We see Eugene effectively fixing Crusher, who, again, is like so much more calmer now that he's with heroes. Mm-hmm. Again, that idea that he's just absorbing that idea of that, I can be a hero. Even his girlfriend, is doing that. We get the revelation that apparently someone had taken over Fortran's body a long time ago. And in this gamma space, it's actually the real Fortran in the Abomination suit. And we find out that the girl, Stockpile that we call her, is actually his daughter. And they entered into this, that basically what it is they are using this gamma grafting technology to basically turn people into mind-controlled gamma monsters. But they don't realize it because, when they first take the fortitude pill is what they're calling it, it, makes them stronger and heal faster, but that we apparently have this whole zombie gamma workforce in the gamma dimension. So we're not quite sure how that goes. In the end, and it's a very nice thing here, we have Charlene dealing with Del and Rick, and basically because to help their minds focus when the two parts of his brain are being incongruous because they're sharing one body, says you toss a ball between your hands, and focusing on the two hands tossing a ball will help your mind to focus. And they're able to feel where our team is and pull them back. So that's that. And it was a very good story. I really enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed it.
All right.
You got a book to toss out there, my friend?
Yeah, I was going to bring this up real quick because there's something in here that might interest you. Sinister War #3.
Tell me about it.
A lot of it is just like the villains, like, the villains just like, oh, I'm going to kill Spider-Man. I'm going to, just everyone coming after Spider-Man and like,
as they do.
And the villains are fighting each other. But like when Otto comes for Peter, Peter's like, Doc, you don't have to do this. This isn't who you are. And, but Otto has him in the arms and, all the villains are like, well, if you're not going to kill him, we're going to kill him. And, Otto's like, no, he's like, I can do it. But then 2 seconds after he says that, Peter like slugs him and gets away. So it's like, did Otto on some level let Peter get away?
Yeah.
Which got me thinking, it's like, okay, I mean, if Spencer at the end of his run here like undoes the Mephisto deal and gives Spider-Man his marriage back, are we going to undo all the Mephisto deals, or is Otto at least going to remember being Superior Spider-Man? Or at least part of it?
I hope so.
Maybe not remember who Peter is, but remember him, what he did as,
I'm going to say this, and that it's just a thing. I kind of feel like who Peter is should be kind of an open secret among people in the business. Like, I think that Otto knowing who Peter Parker is should be a thing at this point. The same thing with Venom. It's like everyone should know because we're all there, and
yeah, but it's like, but then it's like when too many people learn, it's like, oh, eventually we're going to get to someone who's like, oh yeah, you know what, I'm going to murder him in his sleep, or I'm going to murder his aunt in her sleep,
Yeah, but first off, well, if you have too many people know, that's always a problem. Yeah. But so, and again, this is something we're going to get to when we get to Marvels. We're with Peter in the room. Well, with Spider-Man in the room, all the other guys are just talking about Peter Parker. And it's like, it's weird because I can't tell if they like all know because they're talking about like Parker Industries collapsing. And I can't tell if it's that, they don't know that that's Peter Parker they're talking to.
Well, who was talking about that?
Well, okay, so, and this is interesting because, so the Marvels, as you know, was doing this old thing, and they keep on flashing back between that early Marvel world and the modern world. And I think we met at one point. So at this point, Shang-Chi, which is the place that could be Afghanistan, could be Vietnam, don't worry too much about it. It's somewhere foreign, and that's all you need to know. It's in the East, and it could be close to places we fought wars in, and the people there could be any number of things, and they have erected this gigantic Dark Force bubble over itself, as well as other areas. The Lotus has appeared and said, we were always just your little country whipping boy, but no more. Although it's kind of a weird thing to say that, because it's like, so you're putting a dome over yourself? I mean, the geopolitical negotiations aren't much in this, to be fair. But also, to be fair, it just started. And they basically touch base. So we have a POV character who's a guy who has somehow acquired an old Fantastic Car bathtub. And in fact, I think we saw him in the Shang-Chi series. I actually think that's where I saw him last. I don't think it was in Marvels. I think it was in Shang-Chi. Giving these tours to tourists of... Actually looking for my editor's note right now. See if they mention where he last was when he was in Little Sing Kong. Yeah, they're not giving us the editor's note. So actually, that was actually in Shang-Chi. But basically, when a giant monster shows up, he recognizes the smell as something he smelled in Little Sai Kong, and the monster starts chasing him. And then there's another monster that was chasing Black Cat. Eventually they emerge, and this was the only reason I thought this was interesting. Becomes this big winged dragon character. It's like, dang, if it had tentacle feet, that would look exactly like the monster on the Shang-Chi poster. So, I don't know. There might be something there.
Unless we're giving Fing Fang Foom a makeover in the comics now, maybe.
Yeah, well, who knows what we're getting towards. But eventually, because basically they go to the Stark Unlimited campus, they make a point about how, didn't you sell this building, Tony? It's like, yeah, but I still have Founders rights, so I can come back here and use it as a base of operations. The guy and Black Cat, who the monsters were chasing, both sneak out, and then... But yeah, as I was saying, so there's this whole scene here where they're talking... Let me find it here. Basically, they're talking about Peter Parker to Spider-Man with everyone in the room. And, and of course, actually it's interesting here because the guy is sitting here and they're talking about Dr. Strange, who was going by Dr. Strange, and how Steven almost had a cease and desist order put against him. Because he might come back, how are these people just joking all the time when the world is hanging in the balance? And that's the gag. And then we see Arrow. Lady Arrow realizes that air can pass through the black dome, but when she tries to pass through herself, she gets desiccated. So let's see what happens next issue when wackiness ensues of some form or another. I enjoy the Marvel series. It's a lot of fun. Okay, anything else you want to talk about before we call it a night, Phil?
I think we're good.
I do want to give a shout-out. I haven't read the book yet, but it's called The Heroes Union, #1. 21st Century Greatest Heroes. Who's this by?
Oh, I've heard of that. I heard it's good. Friend of the show, Ron Friends, I think, draws that.
Yeah, it's like, basically it's supposed to be an all-ages superhero universe. Mm-hmm. I was very excited about it. It's like a classic, hardbound graphic novel style book. Really like the artwork. I like it. I just want to read it. I just haven't had the chance to. And it's got, your classic kind of, all-ages superheroes here. We got fantastical powers. Let's get some good. So... The other reason I got it because it's called the Heroes Union. Yeah. And one of my very first comic strips I ever wrote as a kid was called The Union of Superheroes Local 362. And it was about a local group of superheroes in the Union who fought various crimes. And so the name really called to me. And I picked it up and I'll have to read it. And I'll give you guys a report next week on it. All right, Philip. Oh, I think that's all we have to talk about tonight. If there is any way that people want to talk to you or me or anything, if they'd like to buy some merch or something, or if they'd like to do something that could help out the show, how can they do that, Philip?
Well, if you want to talk to us, you can always email capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And the easiest way to find links to everything we do, social media, everything is at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
And, of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way where mothers and fathers once did at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. And follow me on Twitter as I live tweet things like Stargirl when I can at Charlie Esser. That's CHARLIE. ESSER. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have just connected with us again. It's just a regular connection. Why don't you try and super connect with us again next week? Good night. That's the show. Oh, that wasn't too bad. No. Hour and 1 minute. We're good.
Talked a bunch of trailers, bunch of comics. What If episode 2.
Yep. Hopefully we gave the people what they want.
A Venom Theory.
A Venom Theory by Tristan Esser. Grand Theorist, watch for him in the future.